Hi, welcome to Talking Trash and Tacos with Jessica and
Sarah, we're about to be famous.
maybe not. The Stanford Prison Experiment was one of the most interesting things I learned about in school. It stuck with me. And then I watched a movie, The Experiment, with Adrian Brody and Forrest Whitaker. It made me cry. I had to turn it off. Ron was able to watch it, no problem. I'm not sure what that says about him. So this Stanford Prison Experiment was obviously at Stanford University. And the study was conducted in August of 1971 by Philip Zimbardo to examine the effects of perceived power in a simulated prison environment. So they found 24 college students and randomly assigned them to play the role of either prison guard or prisoner.
Yes, and they picked these roles, who would be a prisoner or a guard, by flipping a coin. I think they all went through testing as well, but, that's what told you your fate. Prisoner, heads.
Yep, they said it was completely random, though I'm not sure I believe it. Because why else do you give them tests? So they already had preconceived ideas of, personalities.
Plus, all the people that sign up for this, if they had tests, is it to break down? What? How would they even know what they're rating to find?
Yeah.
It's like they wanted this outcome a little bit.
I think so. It was definitely controversial. So the goal was to study how social roles influence behavior, particularly how individuals conform to these roles of authority or submission. Are you authority or submission type?
Oh, I'm actually changing mine.
Yeah.
I've always been submission, but I'm trying to be an authoritative.
Yeah, you want to be more assertive.
Yeah, I think Brian's rubbing off on me.
I think it's important. You don't want to be taken advantage of. That's huge. No one wants.
No, not at all.
So I prefer to be authority. Sometimes I have to be in the submission role, but that's not really fun for anyone.
You're just pretending at that time. I could never see you submitting.
It's hard. So the findings were that the guards quickly became authoritative and abusive, and they were enforcing strict rules and subjecting prisoners to psychological torment. I just cannot believe this is something people signed up for and then were treated poorly.
Did they get paid?
They did.
How much?
$15 a day.
I read that. I was like, what? $15?
Yeah. But this was back in 1971, so I'm not really... It might have been a great deal. And they described it in the paper like there's going to be a bed, you're going to get 3 meals a day, you're going to also receive $15. Like, come to California for the summer. Let's do this.
I just don't get how it went to this extent. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Which is definitely something we want to discuss. So the prisoners became very submissive and emotionally distressed during the experiment. Some even showed signs of extreme stress and mental breakdowns. So the duration originally planned for the experiment to last 2 weeks, but then it got terminated because after
6 days, a visitor came in and said this is unethical and kind of said shut it down. It was actually the wife, isn't it, of Zimbardo.
There are more people involved than what should have been, which I think was part of what they think was wrong. Like, Zimbardo shouldn't have been partaking in any part of this. He's just supposed to be an observer and record,
take notes and write a book about it.
Exactly. So the conclusion was that the study demonstrated how situational factors in assigned roles can lead ordinary people to engage in cruel and dehumanizing behavior. Everyone wants to think they're a good person, but depending on your environment, if I'm stuck in a house and someone's coming at me like, I'm either going to kill you or you're going to cut off this guy's arm, and I feel like they're really going to kill me, I might have to cut off someone's arm.
Right. Like that Saw movie where
Exactly.
be in those rooms. What are you going to do to live? Mentally, psychologically, you're going to try and probably save yourself.
Alive. Yeah.
I mean, you just...
Yep.
It'd be harder to be like, all right, I give up, I quit.
The mind is very powerful. So the experiment remains one of the most controversial in psychology and contributed to stricter ethical guidelines in research. I'm also wondering if this made changes throughout prisons. Like, I wonder if they study this case to make recommendations on what should be happening in prisons.
I mean, it's to an extent of this, but not the abusive part of it.
That's the thing about this, is they're just playing a part. Why are they taking this so seriously?
Yeah, it's like it did something mentally, and all it takes is that one person to be dominant. Well, the prisoners really are kind of screwed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't even want to be a prisoner, but they did say one of them felt bad and would sneak food and cigarettes.
Cigarettes? Out of all the things
into the prisoners. All in the 70s, they did.
Well, I mean, in prison, that's contraband, isn't it? Like, so that would still be a good smuggle, I think. The Stanford Prison Experiment in 1971. I just cannot believe they didn't have more rules. It had lack of proper consent, so the participants were not fully informed of their psychological risks. You know, and they're young. When you're young, you don't really think that something could affect you so adversely. Like, hey, I'm going to go work this job. Like, these people were coming in there like, hey, I'm going to study. I'm a college student. This is great. I'm going to pass my tests.
Right.
Nope, no time to study. We are going to beat you instead. The participants that were the prisoners experienced severe distress, anxiety, and breakdowns. So that was the main reason that got closed down in the first place.
And long-term, I think, psychological effects on multiple of them. But one supposedly did fake it to get out. But then again, if you're a big macho man, you're going to say you faked it. But did you really fake it?
The failure to intervene. Philip Zimbardo was acting as both the lead researcher and the prison superintendent. So he became a bit obsessed with the rule and was allowing the abuse and almost having it escalate. He was stirring the pot instead of stopping it.
He definitely was. It's like he wanted him to be that extent, and then he was like, wait, what did I do? But kept going.
Yep. So Zimbardo's dual role blurred the lines between researcher and participant, leading to a biased decision. He didn't protect the subjects from harm, and he played a part of it. So is this really a valid scientific experiment? It's not.
No.
Apparently.
Well, they didn't follow by all the rules.
The guards quickly adopted sadistic behaviors. They liked humiliating the prisoners, sleep deprivation, and physical punishments. So the prisoners internalized their roles. Some became really passive and emotionally unstable, while others rebelled when they were punished. What would you do? Would you rebel?
No.
You would just...
I would follow the rules.
I think I would probably try to rebel within reason.
I guess you never know until you're in that.
I'll be shanking people.
Right. I mean, if it was in that level, but I mean, the guards, I don't know. I think they would be nice to me. People can't be mean.
And the guards do get overly involved. I mean, that's a thing even now in the prison system. You know, that's how contraband comes into play. Some of the guards are not good people.
Right. And I just don't get it. How these women break their prisoners out, think they're in love. Like, I watched that one documentary.
Yeah.
Crazy. That she killed herself. So we couldn't even get any answers.
Well, I don't think we needed any answers.
I think we knew.
So broken, poor thing. It definitely escalated, and there was poor experimental control. So there's no control group here to draw a conclusion. So the guards were not given strict guidelines. Behavior was unpredictable and extreme. Some argue selection bias. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, basically what I think they're saying is they were put in an environment of aggression and authority tendencies or enticed, like the Springer show. They picked them based on the background of having an aggressive side.
Right. Yeah. That's
what the test was for, to find the
demeanors. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Zimbardo implicitly encouraged the guards to exert control and influence the experience outcome. So the study was not purely observational. It was almost guided, if you will, towards certain behaviors. I guess all we can truly determine is that we all probably have some kind of mean tendencies.
Yes.
And some are kind of crazy.
You would be a good guard. I'd be a good prisoner.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be sneaking me cigarettes.
I don't think I would. I really don't. I'd be too scared. It's like how people steal. You know, some people just steal and they just feel compelled to do it. And I don't know why. But I would never do that.
I accidentally walked out of Target with an infant pair of shoes. And I felt so bad, I took them back inside and said I left with these and didn't pay by accident.
See, now that I don't feel bad for. When the kids would steal things and I sincerely did not notice, I just let them keep them because it's already happened and I'm not going back.
Well, and I did do that one day at Kroger. I got the Swiffer wet Swifters,
yes,
which are like $10 at Kroger. And I did not go take those back.
No, I wouldn't either. I recently stole something from a Big Lots. Well, not recently. It was probably within the last year. I had two collapsible laundry baskets rested on top of each other. And I honestly had no idea until I got home and saw the receipt. So I didn't purposely do that. I stacked them so you could scan both of them. They were both right there.
Did you ever know the trick to put your lampshade on the lamps?
Oh, that's smart.
Sometimes you'll have a lamp that comes with a lampshade. Yeah. Other times
you buy them separate.
And then you look for the silliest looking cashier. Somebody told me that. I'm not going to.
Silliest looking cashier. Who is the dummy of the group today?
I'm not going to tell you who taught me that.
Okay. I won't, because it was probably your mom.
It was.
Oh, I love it so much. They did stop the experiment. What we're going to do now is watch a documentary with our friend about the subjects, the prisoners and the guards. They're interviewing them as little old men. And I can't wait to hear what they say.
I know. I already researched to see their faces.
So what's funny is I did see on the screen, he said, you know, was I really hard to find because no one's ever reached out to me before? I do not think I believe that. I think people have reached out to them before. This is a really interesting experiment. How would no one ask what happened?
I don't know. That is a good question, though, because did he want to be found? Was he saying it like, hey, why are you like, took so long?
No one's really been interested from papers or, you know, the media per se. Now that we have the background of what the experiment was, we went and we watched something on National Geographic called Stanford Prison Experiment, Unlocking the Truth. We invited Jennifer over. She doesn't want to talk. She's playing pissy pants. So she'll end up talking. What happened is they brought in the men that were guards and prisoners. What did you guys think?
Sarah talked a lot.
Sarah did talk a lot. I was like, I cannot hear what these men are saying. The one guy's name was David, and he was a guard, and he is still kind of an ass. What's he do, Sarah?
David is a real estate investor.
A real estate investor. Well, those people are kind of
douchey
anyway sometimes.
Sorry. Well, he was the weirdest.
Sorry. So I don't know, but that guy was like too much, and he definitely... he had said that he was in a fraternity and he had just gone through hazing. And so I think that was part of why he was totally okay with abusing the prisoners. Is that what you think? Did you catch that?
Yeah, he treated it like he was acting.
Yeah, like
he thought
he was in his frat and doing what was done to him.
So that is true. But that is another thing Sarah said, is that he had said that he was acting. So he was putting a spin on this. Like he was really in the part, and he was doing it, and he was doing it well. So kudos to you, David. You got him. He says that people get on his business page and kind of harass him nowadays. And we are kind of that culture now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like
bullies. Internet bullies.
I posted something that I didn't realize was insensitive on Nosy Asses of Toledo. And it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's fully insensitive. I just think it was a normal statement. But everyone got really mad. And then Jennifer was like, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're saying. And then I looked and I was like, oh God, now I'm going to have to comment back to these people because they're all thinking I'm a total a-hole. So that is the culture though. Like we all just want to like hop on this bandwagon of crazy. You see one person doing it, so we're all going to do it, right? That's kind of the effect. It's like a mob effect.
Yeah. Like Montez. Oh my gosh. What happened to him? Where did it go?
I don't know, but he paid to trademark his name, so he better not have gone far.
He only did it with a few E's and
a few E's and maybe a couple Z's.
Did they find Montez?
Yeah, I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah, and
they've interviewed him. Yeah,
they did interview him, and now he's making. You haven't seen the Facebook ads?
No.
Yeah, he did them with the pan balance grill thing. The guy, and he was like, "You're not going to steal my Powerball." Is it called
Balance Pan Asian?
Yes, Balance Pan Asian. I'm trying to say it all different ways. See, that's another thing is how do you break out of Facebook? Like not everyone's using Facebook anymore. So I notice people go to our website quite often, which is talkingtrashandtacos.com. And they listen on Spotify because a lot of people are on Facebook now. You don't do Facebook as much, Jennifer.
I don't do social media much.
Not much anymore.
She snapped.
Because she used to. She used to be a social media whore.
You're not a snapper that much either.
Yeah, so she was huge. Like, I used to get so frustrated because she'd be on her phone 24/7 going, ding, 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 ding. And now she doesn't do that. In fact, I think she just went and got her phone out of her coat or purse, which is so unusual. I like it. Good job. High five. Thanks. You're welcome.
I'm scrolling on my...
I know. Sarah's taking your place. She's got your back.
I'm addicted.
So I'm terrible at Snapchat. I don't know how to do that. My daughter called me on FaceTime the other day, and you know what she said? She goes, I'm not hanging up, and you're old and don't know how, so good luck figuring that out. I got it right away. Joke's on her.
Oh, my mom loves the snow app. I took her birthday picture. She's like, whoa, what'd you do to me?
I told her about the snow app. No one knows about the snow app. And I was like, well, Jennifer taught me because I didn't know about the snow app.
Are you guys getting naked ladies into your Facebook a lot like this? This is happening.
Don't talk about it because I don't want them.
Okay, well, that's what's happening to me, and I do not look at this stuff. So
every time I talk about something, it shows up.
I saw her scrolling, so I'm sure she's looking.
So
I was like,
what's going on is like we talked about Montez, and that's how I see the commercials now, I think, because, you know, they're stalking us.
Oh, they hear you.
Yeah. Oh, they hear you.
You know that when Brian and I will talk about stuff, I guarantee your phones really are recording you all the time.
So what they ended up saying about Zimbardo is that it was fully scripted, just like the Jerry Springer show. He was selling it like it was a true experiment when it really wasn't. So fake people exist everywhere and in all eras. So in this situation, would you be a better guard or prisoner? I asked Sarah earlier.
You both would be a guard. Honestly, I think all my friends would be guards. I would be the prisoner, and you better all be nice to me.
You're very nice to
you. You guys are all prisoner-like, or guard-like. Dang it, I can't get it right. All guard-like people.
Yeah. I would, yeah, but not like that guard.
No, yeah, I definitely, that's what I said. I was like, I think I would always try to follow the rules because, like, I'm the person who can't steal from stores and stuff. You know, like, I don't want to be in trouble ever. Like, that's not my game.
Now, I don't know how things were done back in the 70s, but I definitely know it's not the same today.
Yeah, so that was another good point that they brought up. They didn't tell you there was one guy that this second they got accepted into the experiment, he was pulled in and they were telling the guards how they should be doing things. And the guy's like, I knew right away, absolutely not. I was planning my escape. I'm not doing this. And they didn't even mention that. Like, I've never heard that throughout, learning about this all over these years. Have you?
No.
Yeah, I never heard about that. So I thought that was interesting that someone stepped up and was like, no. And then they tried to do a hunger strike, which I didn't realize. I mean, if you're doing a hunger strike, I think your point is you're going to die because no one gives a fuck that you're doing a hunger strike except you, right?
You don't want to eat? Don't eat.
Don't eat. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
They're saving money. They're getting raises if they save money.
So then I'm asking somebody over here that knows things that go on in prisons. And I'm just like, so what do they do? Is hunger strike a real thing? And she said, it is. And then if they stop eating for a certain period of time, what do they do?
Send them to medical?
Yeah.
Monitor.
But when they go to medical, what do they get?
They could be forced, but that would, yeah.
Like intravenous. Like they're going to make sure you're hydrated, make sure you get like your nutrients because no one wants you dying on our dime.
No, no.
The hunger strike is pretty much like you're trying to die, but they're not going to let you. So,
they're not going to let you.
So don't do it. Makes no sense. So, but this is also the 70s and lots of protesting back then. Like more recently, we had some protesting at a college not too long ago. I think that was about Palestinians.
Yes.
And I didn't understand that either. That's so confusing to me. Like,
I'm not a protester either.
Like, you're going to stand up for this and make your life uncomfortable for what?
I'm going to stand out in the cold. I'm going to be really miserable.
Trying to figure out
I'm going to starve. Yeah. Not have water. It doesn't sound good.
Would you be a good protester?
No, I'd probably easily give up.
Yeah, I think Lindsay would be a good protester.
Yeah, I think so. I'd be the one trying to neutralize everybody. I'd be the neutralizer.
The neutralizer.
Neutralizer.
What?
Neutralizer.
That is like a new X-Men.
Round up.
The Marvel characters.
The de-escalator?
Yeah. I'm going to be an escalator today. I love it.
Did you know the escalator only goes up? It's de-escalate if you're going down.
Yep.
That way, it's both an escalator.
Okay.
I almost died on one.
Is it only an elevator if it goes up?
No, because then it would be a de-elevator if it's going down, which leads me back to psychics. I think a lot of those are fake, but some are real. The guy that got out after 2 days, he had to pretend to be crazy. He's like, oh God, I got to be serious here because they're really not letting me out after I'm in the hole. So then he just starts screaming and he's like, and I knew it. I needed to move my arms a certain way. I had to hit myself. What did he say?
I had to you're agitated.
I had to generate tears. And he did good.
You had to make them flow.
And then the mean guard, David, he said, when I heard it back, I knew it was suspect. I was like, okay. And there is something to it. I really do think they did the personality test. And they said that it was like a 50-50 chance whether you're a guard or a prisoner. I don't think so. I think he knew who the dominant ones were and made them guards. And the more passive people.
Or nerdy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Outcaster.
Yeah, they were definitely in school for intellect. And not to go to the fraternity.
Like David. Guys were the guards.
Yeah.
And the nerds were the inmates.
Yeah. And they did come up with some like really interesting ways. He's like, okay, I realize the lock is on the inside. We're going to take this lock apart and try that. Well, that worked. That was all nice until they realized, they didn't have any underwear on and now they're being forced to play leapfrog with each other. So now they're like, not doing that again. No balls in my face today. So yeah, it was interesting. I think it's kind of sad too, because it's an interesting talking point, but you lived through that and that's not cool. That's like my child.
They paid $15 a day.
$15 a day. And they said that they had beds and 3 meals a day. But the fact of the matter is the mean guards took their beds away too as punishment. Because the smart intellectual men that were the prisoners locked the doors with their beds and they got in trouble.
They lost their clothes.
Yes. And no underwear. That's so stupid. Why do we get no underwear? Why do you get no underwear? Why just humiliation?
I think so.
Okay. Why do you think? Humiliation?
So they didn't sniff them.
Mm.
No, I really don't know. I would say so that when they played Frogger, it was more
Interesting. I agree. Yeah, that was totally screwed up. I think I would take the high road in the experiment. And so that also led us into another thing that happened in the Middle East with the soldiers, something Abu, because why not? But we're going to dig into that a little bit more too.
So that happened
snorted
in
at
late
me.
2003. The U.S. soldiers were torturing and abusing prisoners. In 2004, disturbing photographs were leaked. Actually, I was looking at them. And they were exposing inhumane treatment and humiliation of Iraqi detainees. So yeah, they did physical abuse. They sexually raped them.
They did.
They put them on leashes like dogs and walked them around. I had a pot of coffee.
That we have caught. So not cool. I mean, I get that there have to be prisoners, but you don't have to be a dick.
You don't have to be a dick.
You don't have to be a dick. You chose to do that, and that's not cool, you. I wonder what they're doing today, because that's going to be a hard one to run from.
I know Charles, one of those people, got 10 years in prison. He was the ringleader of the abuse.
That sounds like David.
But they also did get a lawsuit, but it took 25 years to settle, and that was for $12 million.
And 12
But I think
million.
like 1,000 people were injured.
But
people were
who
shot and
received
killed.
the money? The
Dead.
The prisoners that
family
survived.
members?
Well, it was for all the prisoners, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's really sad and horrible. But by the way, they do the same thing to us when our U.S. citizens are captured as prisoners of war. They would torture them. I'm not saying tit for tat's always right. I'm just saying.
But they definitely compared the Stanford Prison Experiment to that whole case.
They did, which they said has no legs to stand on because obviously
No, like
it's an experiment. It does something to your psyche. You get sucked into the environment.
The power
Goes to your head.
Yeah.
Power trips. Who's on a power trip?
You
Oh, maybe. No, I don't really know anyone on a power trip.
kind of forced me over here tonight.
she is
that
very
what
bossy. She's very
Whatever.
bossy.
I just feel like it was weird because like you weren't even like you just haven't been around in a long time. So I figured why not get together?
Hey, it's better than what we sound like when I'm at home and I have a ghost interfering with my equipment.
So I still need to go in my attic and find my Ouija board.
Yeah.
We're going to do Janet. Have you done that?
I'm gonna go.
No.
No. Did you even call in? Remember in the 90s, she was
No.
big on the radio. I guess she still is.
Today you could have called her.
Yeah, she was on with Andrew Z, apparently.
Yeah.
No. Never did.
Okay. Well, I did call once when I worked at Charter One Bank in Perrysburg. And I don't remember what she told me. So I don't know if it was
question.
true.
Are we doing some big like raid on sex offenders? Because today alone, there's several.
I'm not familiar. Well, I just think people have been molesting children for a very long time, and we're just now finding out about it.
Luckily, I was not one of the kids to get.
Yeah, thank God. But no, I mean, that's been happening forever. You hear about that in stories throughout generations of families almost, right? Like you hear about so-and-so or all these documentaries I watch, like it happens a lot. It's very common. It's disgusting. It's
Is crime really going down? They say we're going down,
Oh.
actually, though,
I
but
was like, are you asking me if it's real? Yeah, it's real.
no.
Or if it's real. It is not fake.
Is it really going down in percentage? Because I don't think so. I think maybe certain crime is.
Well, I just think we have it at our fingertips now.
Like now you
social
don't break
media,
into
there's-
cars, you steal cars. It kind of just changed a little bit.
Well, I mean, you're still breaking into them to steal them.
Yeah.
People, you just.
But before you'd even respect and check the door handle first. If it's unlocked, you get in, get what you want, leave. I didn't do it. But I had my...
No one blamed you.
I've had my car respectfully robbed.
Respectfully.
Yeah, like all you knew is you got...
Is that respectful?
They just left the glove box open, but my battery stayed alive.
I will be honest with you. when we lived over by Blessed Sacrament, the cars were broken into all the time. And Ron would be like, why do you leave it unlocked? And I was like, because what, do I want him to break a window? No one wants to go through that shit. So I didn't like it either way, but what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I don't know. Yeah. They stole my makeup, and that was a little sad.
What did you think of that video? So I sent Jessica a video. It's from Indiana, and a guy drives a car.
Oh.
You'll have to watch it after we...
No, I think she was thinking...
I was like, what video?
She's nervous because I sent her some crazy stuff. But this one was good. The guy went crazy, and he drove into the yards and then crashed.
Yeah, he crashed. And
we'll have to share it out.
His girlfriend goes running out, and she's like, oh, honey. And he's like, I don't know you. And then they were running, and then he's trying to go find his house, and he accidentally almost walks up to another one, then finds his. And when they pull him out, when the police come and pull him out, they have him hogtied, rodeo style. What do you call that?
Oh, they were carrying him sideways, and then they're arguing.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, I did. I've seen it in video.
I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's not something
that's normal. Oh. And they're like, don't put him in the back of my car. He shot himself. And I'm like, oh, the things you don't think.
If I knew how to...
People are gross.
This is breaking news. Matthew Lillard is going to be in Scream 7.
Well, that's great. Who's Matthew Lillard?
What?
And did they make a Scream 6?
He was the...
Oh, I see him now.
One of my scariest movies. What was it? He was in it.
There's a
house.
Scream 6?
It's coming out. Scream 7 is coming out.
So where were 6?
Last time.
One of those false articles.
It might be. I don't know.
No, I read about it more than once.
Okay. She read about it more than once. It's true.
Facebook doesn't lie.
Now that I see him, I do remember
what was
Scooby-Doo.
There was the glass house. What was that scary movie where there were spirits and they were trapped in the basement walls?
13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yes, that's still one of my top scary.
That is a really good one. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. I don't... It's okay. The story you hear in the background is Jennifer's dog that's tongue permanently hangs out of its mouth and it snores. She's cute, though.
It's cute.
She's amazing.
Yes. And I have some good, fun challenges I want to do. I want to go to public and I want to...
Can I waterboard you?
No.
We can see what it's like.
That's not on my list. I want to live.
Fun thing.
Can we do waterboard? We get wars last, but I want to go to a random place and randomly hug people. I want to hitchhike.
Oh, you might get punched for that. Some people don't want to be touched.
I want to hitchhike.
We're going to hitchhike?
Hitchhike, yep.
You're going to die.
I told her that's a bad idea.
I want to go to one of those silent retreats that you can't talk at all. Do you think I'll
get fail? You can't even sit through one episode.
Yoga with goats. That's a good one.
It'll poop on you.
Well, you could probably do that. That's okay for you. The other 3
I would love you.
Botox lip filler. Jess would have an experience. I've done it. She hasn't.
No, I've had nothing done. I don't know about that.
Take a lie detector test. Give each other lie detector tests.
I mean, I'll tell you what you need to know. I wonder how accurate it is. Because if I tell you something and you're like, oh, you're lying, and you're, I don't know. I feel like it's not really.
What do we have to lie about?
Yeah, and is the technology right? I mean,
you would have to basically try and see if you could get away with, it would be
faking
fake. It would be a fake lie detector. Or we could take our husband, even though Brian doesn't lie to me, so that would be boring.
I took this video of Ron the other day, because I told him I want to interview him some point in the podcast, and he was being so silly.
Did you hear they found a hawk delivered drugs and dropped him off to a jail? It had a backpack on it.
Was that recent?
Yes. Well, I read it recently, yes.
Okay.
So,
no,
interesting.
I did not, but I do know there's a lot of cultures that believe in training birds.
Yes, it did happen. It's a true story. But
so it's nuts. I don't know how
it got caught. Obviously, they didn't
train a bird.
The Eagles had one performing. An eagle flew around and then it goes right back to its owner and she puts a little leash on it.
And they put little masks on their heads. Did you say that? Yeah,
sometimes.
And it blinds them almost, calms them down. That creeps me out.
I know. I feel it's bad.
So falconry is when they train these hawks or I don't know, something similar to a hawk to hunt small rabbits and squirrels and things. Genghis Khan had used this. He had thousands of these hunting birds that they train to go and hunt for them. That's what I was thinking of when you said that.